Moving on now, perhaps you have noticed this at the grocery store. The price of beef seems to be on the rise again.
Today in our Nebraska Extension segment, we are getting some information on why that is happening and how current cattle markets impact that. So joining us now is Jessica Sperber with Nebraska Extension. Thanks for being here today, Jessica.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Central Alberta, Canada. My family has a cow-calf operation up there. Came down to the States, did my master's in meat science, PhD, feedlot nutrition, and then now on faculty at UNL in the animal science department with an extension role.
All right, well, we're glad to have you here.
Yeah.
I know you like it. So talk about the beef industry here in Nebraska. I know it's one of the main reasons that you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Nebraska's the beef state, right? So you compare cow-calf industry, or you combine the cow-calf industry with the stocker sector, bring that back into the feed yard, finish those cattle out, and then send them for harvest at quite an expansive packing capacity that we have here in the state. You know, if it's beef, we've got it here in Nebraska. So I'll give you guys a few cool numbers. So we have 1.7 million mama cows here in Nebraska. So that means that all those cows will have a calf at side annually. We finish 5 million finished feeder cattle through the feed yard system here every year in Nebraska. And then from those cattle that would be then heading to the packing plant, we actually produce 8 billion pounds of commercial red meat here in Nebraska. So we've got it going on.
Amazing numbers. What are we seeing in the cattle markets today?
Yeah, so across all of the U.S., we are seeing historically high cattle market prices. So that would be for both feeder calves, which would be calves that are on their way into the feed yard system, and also for finished or fat cattle, as you might hear them referred to, which are cattle that are on their way to the packing plant. And so I'll give you guys an example. For a 1,450 to 1,600 pound steer today in Nebraska, we are currently getting 40 cents per pound more. So that's on a per pound basis compared to 1 year ago today in the state of Nebraska. And so that might look like a lot of revenue, right? A lot of money in the pocket of the producer, of the feedlot operator. However, with having to sell that fat steer out of their feed yard, that feed yard is now looking to purchase a feeder calf to then resupply that head space within their yard. And feeder calf prices are also at an all-time high. And so although the revenue might look great, it's actually, you know, the cost of inputs are also high.
Okay, so what do you think is going to happen here coming up?
Yeah, so you know, I mean, over the next few years, we probably likely will see those beef prices remaining somewhat high, and that's largely as a function of the U.S. beef cow herd. And so what we've seen since 2020 is a downward trend in the number of mama cows that we have here in the United States. And so we're seeing about a 2.4 million head reduction in cows that would then have a calf at side, or a 7.7% decrease in our cow herd.
Wow, okay. So again, we are seeing some reduction in cattle, you know, and there's some changes going on, some of that due to the drought this summer, right?
Yes. Yeah, so drought would be the #1 factor that impacts our beef cow herd here in the U.S. With a drought comes the inability to grow forages and pasture and the resources that it takes to sustain that cow herd. And so with a reducing cow herd, those cows are no longer producing a calf for us, right? We do not have them in production. And so now we have tightened our feeder calf supply. And so with a tightened feeder calf supply, that those cattle are not in the feed yard system, but with a stable demand for beef, naturally we see an increase in those beef prices.
Wow, I have learned a ton in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jessica, for explaining all that. And if people want to know more, where can they go?
You know, Nebraska Extension always puts out a lot of great Beef Watch articles and whatnot, so looking at Beef Watch and
Perfect.
there.
Sounds good.
Thank you for being here.
Perfect.
Thank you.